Is it on? I don't know if it's on yet. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'ma fuck on your friend, kick out, and then fuck on you too like I'm new to it. Ayy, stirring that way like a fast car, driving that way like it's NASCAR. Okay, maybe this a rental, but you in a Civic and I'm in a Jaguar. Ayy.
What up, guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of. God, it just feels good to say this. Left turn review. Left turn review. Left turn review. Left turn review. Feels good to be back. I know I literally haven't did one since Kentucky Speedway. Literally, NBC just killed me. Like, literally killed my vibe of doing left turn reviews completely, because once Rick Allen and Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton all started announcing, I was just like, do I even want to do left turn reviews anymore? And also, it's just a part of me being lazy, because half of the time I would just be like, man, I really want to record a video, and I had bought a camera for my PlayStation 4, so I would just constantly want to record videos both on my PS4 but also do left turn reviews, and I never really had the chance to do left turn reviews. I would sit there and take the notes of basically every race, and I was like, why am I not making videos still? Like, I'm taking these notes and they were for nothing. I feel like the best thing for me to do is to just cover the best races, you know, like the ones that have the most, you know, stuff to cover. Like, there were so many races that I covered, and I looked at my old videos and I'm like, there's nothing really going on here. There's nothing to give my opinion about. There's nothing for me to talk about. So why shouldn't I make a video on it? But yeah, it's good to be back. You know, got a new setup. I love doing the reviews, especially when there's actually some good racing. But this is way late to say this, but congrats to Truex, because obviously I didn't cover it. The last race I covered was Kentucky, like I said. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed this whole entire Daytona Speedweek, so let's jump into it. So before I get into the 500, you got to talk about all of the crap that happened right before the race. You know, after Homestead, you're just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting for another race to happen. You know, you got the Chili Bowl and Rolex 24. Rolex 24, once it rolls around, you're like, oh my god, Daytona 500 is coming. And then finally, once the cars hit the track, you know, you're ready, and you just start tuning in and recording every single, like, qualifying and, you know, the clash and all that. I was hype. But you know, you go to the qualifying, and then you see Bowman get the pole, and you're like, okay, another rigged pole maybe? I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, Bowman had a fast car, no doubt, but I mean, I talked about it literally in my first race review ever, how NASCAR likes to rig the pole sort of for, you know, the more favorite drivers. You had the whole story with Junior leaving last year, and I feel like they just wanted to give Bowman some, I guess, clout, as you could say, you know, make him more popular. I don't know. But then, of course, you start Daytona with the clash, and I mean, there wasn't much to talk about. It was just, you know, your average clash, just a couple wrecks here and there. Brad Keselowski won it. It was a pretty damn good race. And then, of course, you go to the duels, and it was just, actually, you had Blaney and Elliott winning. Blaney won the first duel, Elliott won the second duel, and it was just, I mean, it was really good, like, racing as far as, like, the younger drivers that are trying to get, you know, their name made in the sport. Like, I saw a lot of good drivers up there. But if anything I have to talk about, it was in the clash, and just check out this save by Kyle Larson. It's unbelievable.
They came around.
I tell you, but he saved that car.
Oh,
that takes an incredible amount of talent to be able to save that car at 200 miles an hour, 195 miles an hour. That was amazing.
That's an unbelievable save.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that save, and I was like, oh my god, this kid is going to be a legend. But after the duels, some of the even younger drivers show up in the Truck and Xfinity series, and it sort of doesn't go too well. In the Truck series, you had Clay Greenfield just slamming the inside wall, and then you had Jennifer Jo Cobb just slamming the outside wall, and then you had John Hunter Nemechek blowing a tire and just causing a wreck for the entire field. So yeah, that's pretty much sums up the entire Truck series, and Sauter won it. So I was actually pulling for Sauter the majority of the race, you know, besides Ben Rhodes, but still pretty decent race. Not much to talk about other than just typical Truck Daytona race. As for the Xfinity race, the first two stages actually went pretty damn smoothly, but until we got to the end of the race is when things got to where I couldn't even predict it. So the caution comes out about, I don't know, like 11, 10 to go, and, you know, the field stacks back up and they're ready to race, and then they go about 5 more laps and more cautions come out. It ended up being, I think, a 5th overtime for the race to finally finish. Like, I'll just go ahead and play a montage of literally all of the crashes that happened, I think within the maybe 5-10 laps of the end of the race.
All I ride Levi's and Trues, I'm true to myself, he ain't good on my Buddha shit. My bitch run Gucci and Louis, and yeah, that's my side, but she already knew that shit. Yeah, that's my side, but she knew that shit. Yeah, I'm a liar, she knew that shit. Yeah, I'ma fuck on your friend, kick out, and then fuck on you too like I'm new to it. Ay, stirring that way like a fast car, driving that way like it's NASCAR. Okay, maybe this a rental, but you in a Civic and I'm in a Jaguar. Ay, run up the beds like a track star. Ay, I'm on the beach at the sandbar. Ay, you should delete all your music and quit, nigga. That's if you even got that far. Ay, that part.
So not only did we have the most cautions ever in the Xfinity, you know, Busch, whatever type series, secondary series of NASCAR, most cautions ever, we also had just one of the most amazing finishes, and I'm just going to go ahead and play that clip as well.
Getting help, coming to your mirror, coming to your mirror.
Elliott's going to get position on him. What's the 11
to the inside? Ryan Truex look to the high side. Reddick still out front. Here comes the 16 of Ryan Reed.
Oh, this is going to be a photo finish, guys. We're going to bring this one right down to the line.
Coming off of turn 4. High side of the white car is Reddick. Trying to get his second career win of the season opener at Daytona. But to the inside, it's Elliott Sadler. A photo finish.
Tyler Reddick's going to edge him out.
And Tyler Reddick at the line. And here we are, right at the line. By that much.
So yeah, I expected, you know, one of the guys to pull away and, you know, just lead the race. Tyler Reddick, you know, Elliott Sadler, one of them. But no, the closest race in NASCAR history. Literally, it was like .000 something. It was like unbelievable. The closest race ever in NASCAR history. When I mean closest race ever, I mean in all of the series, like not just one series. Every single series, like, that's the closest finish that's in history. It's unbelievable. But I mean, congrats to Tyler Reddick, and I mean, congrats to Elliott Sadler, even though I was really pulling for him, and I know he needs a, not really Daytona 500, but Daytona 300 or whatever it's called. I don't even know. But yeah, I was just pulling for him, but he still got to be a part of that history. So congrats to both of them. Now let's talk about the Super Bowl of NASCAR, the Daytona 500.
Danica Sue, this is for you. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing drivers.
I think I'm going to play that clip in the beginning of all my reviews. So like I said, you had Bowman out front and Denny Hamlin starting right next to him. And I mean, it was just really, really good racing out front. The first 2 stages, like, it was just constant. I was really surprised with Bowman on how well he stayed out there. And then you had guys like Blaney and Chase coming up there too. The first 2 stages, I remember, I think it was Ricky Stenhouse, yeah, that he had this amazing save. Like, I could not believe it. He saved it, but at the same time, you had everybody panic behind the field. I'll just go ahead and show you the clip.
22 of Logano to see if he will be penalized. Look at this! Oh, Stenhouse! He saved it!
No, Eric Jones is not going to be able to save it.
Jones did not.
Come on.
Jones, his teammate Suarez, William Byron, Jimmy Johnson are all in it along with Ty Dillon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Trevor
goodness.
Bayne was able to weed his way through there.
Man, I don't care what anybody says about DW. Do you hear that perfect commentary? Nah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Trevor
goodness.
Bayne was able to weed his way through.
But yeah, you had Stenhouse pulling the block on Blaney, and Blaney wasn't having it. Stenhouse swerved and saved it, but then Eric Jones just panicked and just caused the wreck for about, 5-6 cars. Another big wreck was with Chase Elliott. He just literally smacked the inside wall. It was pretty bad. I feel like it's going to be one that he's going to remember for sure.
Big push coming from Elliott and Keselowski. Contact! Elliott slam into the wall.
Are you kidding me?
Danica Patrick, Casey Kane.
Oh, man.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh. And thus ends Danica Patrick's final race in NASCAR, and I just feel like it was unfortunate to end, but I don't know. I just wanted to see her at the last 10 laps of it, but unfortunately that didn't happen. A lot of people blame Keselowski for that wreck. I don't know. I feel like it was more just race and deal. Like, he might have lifted Chase Elliott's tires off just a little bit, but I don't know. So I believe it was around 10 to go, and William Byron ended up spinning around. No major damage, but throwing the caution out, and ended up stacking the field back up. And around 2 to go, we had the big one finally happen. I think it was Blaney ended up spinning out Kurt. And Blaney was just aggressive throughout this whole race. He was hungry for a 500, and I mean, you could just tell throughout some of these clips I've shown you. But yeah, let's just check out the clip of the big one, I guess you could say.
It has become the war of attrition 500.
As soon as Blaney poked his nose to the left rear quarter panel, that 41 around it went, just like we've seen all week.
This is why Mike Joy is the best. The war of attrition 500. And after the big one, you had them all stacked back up again. You had, all the people that were out front, basically out of the race. So you had all these people that were in sort of the back of the pack or middle of the pack come up to the front. And I'm sure by now you've already seen the finish. It's been on national news. It's literally, it's Thursday when I'm recording this, probably about to upload it. But yeah, Man won it.
Boy, this is going to
move to the top lane.
Going to have to be quick. Going to have to be quick.
Almirola up to cover. Dylan, where will he go?
Going to get there.
Oh, into Almirola. Around he goes. And here it comes with the number 3, 20 years ago. 20 years of trying for Earnhardt. He won the Daytona 500. Austin Dillon wins the 60th running of the Great American Race.
Got a car wrecked here. I think it's Hamlin.
There's the ace, taking home the checkered flag tonight. Austin Dillon with today's Sunoco fueling victory.
Yeah, Austin Dillon won it after spinning out Eric Almirola, and I don't know, it was a very controversial finish. First of all, I gotta say congrats to Austin Dillon, and it was crazy that it was just 20 years ago that Dale Earnhardt made it into victory, and I know that was such a big deal, but anyway, a lot of people say that Austin Dillon didn't deserve it because he spun out Almirola. But in my opinion, I always had this rule in NASCAR, like when I'm watching races, and if it's considered a dirty move or not, if it's the last lap of the Daytona 500, you wreck anybody. I mean, you don't really want to wreck yourself or the entire field, but literally Austin Dillon had the chance. It was the last turn, and he just did it, And I probably would do the same thing. If I saw somebody in front of me that was blocking me, I would just put him in the wall, make sure it's not, it was a pretty hard hit, given Daytona, and they're going, very, very, very fast speeds. I don't know, I feel like it wasn't a dirty move at all. But what was interesting was the whole thing with Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin at the end of the race. I don't know if you saw, sort of in the back, but literally Hamlin was just slamming Bubba in the inside wall. And Hamlin's excuse was, Bubba cut my tire down, which that could have been the case, and that's what it looked like in my opinion. It looked like Denny couldn't control his car. But I would just love to see the in-car camera of Denny Hamlin and see if he was actually turning that wheel into the wall or not, because I just feel like he was just pissed at Bubba or something. I don't know. Yeah, post-race interview, I was excited to hear what Bubba had to say. And just check out what he had to say.
Yeah, I got so many emotions going right now. Congrats to Austin. RCR Alliance 1-2, that's pretty good. I want to see the replay before I say anything stupid, but he might need to take some Adderall for that one. But
damn! Yeah, Bubba just straight called Denny out. I couldn't believe that shit. When I saw it, I was like, oh my god, did he really just say that shit? But I don't know. Could be true, could be not. There's a lot of drivers that have been, accused of taking Adderall or whatever to improve their performance. I don't know. I'd like to figure out more on that. So, my final thoughts on the race. Well, it was good. It was one of the Daytona 500s that I'll remember for sure. I feel like Austin Dillon, yeah, he deserved it. Wasn't a dirty move. I feel like we do need more bump drafting, and literally out of all of the races that I watched at Daytona throughout the week, I feel like the whole bump drafting rule where you can only just tap, 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 you can't actually hook up. I missed the whole, I think it was like tandem drafting or something like that. That was great. That was awesome when even people that weren't teammates would just hook up and just try to make a move on each other and keep going. It was such good racing. It was when they had that going and the tandem drafting, it was great. My other thoughts, I don't know. It's going to be a new whole NASCAR year, I feel like. All of these old drivers are leaving. Once we have, like, Jimmy Johnson out and, like, Kyle Busch, those kind of older drivers and that are getting, you know, in their 40s, I feel like it's going to be a whole new NASCAR. Everything's going to be different. You have Monster Energy sponsoring it. A lot of younger drivers are going to start getting into it, and it's going to be interesting on who's going to be good and who's going to be terrible and who's going to be just a problem for the entire field. But I'm done rambling. Thank you for watching this video so much. I really appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you gave me feedback on this as well, because I haven't did this in a long time, and I'm trying to change things up a little bit. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.
He's a spoiled kid. His granddaddy owns a bunch of NASCARs, and he was born into it. And he did not earn his talent like everybody else has. He's been in the races for what, 6 years?
Yeah.
And he's won 2 races. One they ran out of gas and he won. And this one he wrecked.
I thought he won a Xfinity Championship. If I'm not mistaken, no, he didn't win it. Yeah, he needs to earn his stripes. That's for damn sure. But I feel like earning the Daytona 500, maybe he, you know, has gained a little bit of momentum. I don't know. I like to see a lot of the reactions from the people in the stands in the 500.
Also, there wasn't nobody in it. Everybody else was wrecked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cars were gone.
And he wrecked Alan Moroto that could have won it.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing that.
He could get the lead and stay there.